Welcome back to Edgework on the Hammer Betting Network, a daily live NHL show Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the Edgework YouTube channel. You can find us there, and if you enjoyed the content, please make sure to hit subscribe, like this stream. You can also turn on notifications so you get notified every single time we go live, as well as when our brand new Edgework Show podcast drops every Wednesday with David Pagnotta, Dennis Bernstein, Zach Bodenstein, breaking down futures markets, everything going around in the NHL, make and miss playoffs, all that kind of stuff. So make sure to hit subscribe on this channel so you get the daily live NHL shows as well as our brand new Edgework pod. You can also find that and this show on all podcasting platforms as Edgework. You can track all the picks that we give out on this show on the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Edgework HQ as well. Decent slate of games here today, I guess, as we get closer and closer to the All-Star break next week. They're pushing everything ahead. Normally we get a little bit screwed on the Fridays here with 3 or 4 games, but today, pretty good slate. So we will get through all of those, and just want to acknowledge this comment in the chat here. And as everyone else out there, if you want to comment, if you want to ask questions or have anything to say, you can head over to our YouTube where we will see them in real time. But Jeff saying the dogs were barking last night. Yes, they were. Chicago taking down Calgary, and of course Anaheim taking down Colorado last night. So if you watched the show yesterday, you got to hear So Money say to keep an eye out on those prices as they continue to get longer and longer, because at a certain point they would be worthwhile to play, and they ended up being, especially you can't necessarily look at results, more so process, but regardless, both of those big tickets would have cashed last night. But Rob, Andy, how's it going this morning?
I mean, I'm doing well. Looks like Andy's trying to figure out his lighting. He just kept shining. And
yeah, anybody know how to change the brightness on Windows 11? I'm gonna lose my friggin' mind here, man. Like
Rob and Andy both
Windows.
Usually rocking the hats of teams that they're backing, but Rob, I didn't see you send over anything about Nashville today. What's up with the Predators hat?
The Predators.
There's no
hat,
Preds game tonight even.
Listen. With the Predators, this is just like it's symbolic of us preying on the bookies tonight. We are the Predators, and the bookies are the prey. I don't want any sexual predator comments in the chat today. We can avoid those for one day.
You cannot say stuff like that, because especially with this Friday chat, that is the one thing you can't do. You can't lead them on into something like that. That's all that's going to be said for the rest of the show.
Jordan teasing me here with the Marlboro Reds comment. I would, man. I only brought one carton back from Mexico, thinking that, you know what, I'm gonna quit really soon. But I wish I had some Marlboro Reds right now.
Yeah, but you brought like 30 Percocets back with you. So the Reds are not the problem. The Mexico airport.
Perk a day keeps all your problems away.
This is like Zach, I don't know last time you've been to Mexico. I was there for a wedding in November. And the airport, like the drugs you can buy over the counter at the Mexican airports are absurd. Like and honestly, in hindsight, I don't know why I didn't pick up some children's cough medicine while I was there, because there's like a major shortage in Canada right now. No one can find children's cough medicine. Tons in Mexico. Probably could have sold that for like 20 times the amount. I would have donated the money, people. I'm not looking to make a profit off of others in desperate times. But yeah, these Mexican airports are definitely interesting in the stuff you can find there.
Yeah, I like the what is it, the TGIF or whatever.
Yep.
The Mexican airport, the Cancun airport. It's a good spot. They got the rooftop smoking patio. It's ideal.
Rob, look what you've done already. Leave comments in the chat here. Get this guy on a watch list. Why don't you bettors have a seat, Chris Hansen?
Yeah. All right.
Chris Hansen is the fucking man. I fall down those rabbit holes watching that shit all the time. Like, how do you do that? Like, that would take a toll on you. Like, almost as much as betting.
Yes, almost as much as the people who had the Flames Avalanche parlay last night. I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, shout out to a friend of mine who watches the show who's just messaging me like I'm fucking done with the Flames. Like, fuck Calgary, fuck Sutter, like just going off.
You know they're just gonna crush Seattle tonight too, right? It's gonna be a classic 3-2 Flames win.
as soon as people fall off like the bandwagon with one team, and they're like, that's it, I'm done.
Me too, AJ.
That's kind of like the great buy opportunity there.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
it is.
they are just I mean, the fact that they're the number one team in expected goals for percentage over the last, month or more, that's going to not really lead to very many reduced bargain prices. I mean, you're going to have to pay to bet the Flames, and it's going to come with a lot of misery unless they really start. I don't know, Jacob Markstrom just soiled himself last night too, right? But odd man rushes, just, I don't know, not connecting on things in the offensive zone. They had 8 shots. They ended up with 35 shots. They had 8 shots in the first period, I think. So it's, the game was theirs. They just didn't. It just got away from them, I guess, a little too fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a consistent theme with them this year. I always wonder about, at what point do you just say that, like, the peripheral metrics for this team don't matter? Like, they're just, the example I always use, because it's the easiest for people to resonate with, was probably about 3, 4, 5 years ago. Every year, Carolina Hurricanes lead the league in, like, expected goals every year. And you watch the team play, and they're just, like, shoveling rebounds into, like, the chest of the goalie, into the pads. And you're like, okay, yeah, they take a million shots. They're in and around the net, but they don't have the quality finishing. And I think at some point, like, I always talk myself into, okay, Calgary's got to run in them. Calgary's got to run in them. But, like, maybe they just don't. Maybe this is just the Flames, and they're going to significantly outperform their expected goals for the remainder of the season. And this wouldn't be uncommon with a Daryl Sutter team, but
double down on Flames tonight, says JH in the chat.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah.
No, but yeah, no, I wrote an article yesterday on V's, and I like to take angles and turn them into articles, because it's, I mean, I think it's better for people, the reader, to learn a bit about the process and about kind of picking some of these undervalued players out. And picked 4 player props last night, lost all 4. They all closed pretty strong, but nobody gives a shit about that, obviously. It applies tonight. I mean, I'm not gonna give out any player props, but it's just an interesting angle for a team like the Calgary Flames, because Sutter is a unique coach. I guess that's one word to describe him. But he evenly distributes his minutes through through those 3 lines almost. Most likely the Backlund line, or mostly the Backlund line and the Toffoli line, the Lindholm line up top. It's a different team. They're, the players that get the number 1 power play minutes are priced a lot higher on a game-to-game basis in terms of getting a point and scoring a goal and whatnot. But if you look over the last month, Magnapani and Backlund's line kind of broke up last night. They put Coleman on a different line and put Pelche on this Backlund line, but they've been leading the way for the Flames, and they're underpriced if you look at it relative to their teammates, and I think that's something to look out for. I mean, Mangiapane specifically is even money to get a point tonight. And he's, leading the team in points, or tied for the team lead in points over the last 10 or 11 games or so. So, I mean, he's a player to watch, and a guy that line specifically, who knows what's happening now that Coleman's not on it, but that line has been pretty dominant in terms of, like you said, expected goals and whatnot.
Yeah, and we don't need to pump Andy's tires too much here, Connor. I appreciate it, but process-wise, Andy, I think those are the strongest player props you've given out, he's saying.
The Red Bulls and the Sigs did it for Andy. He's had a vision, and he went down the road and wrote the article. We got breaking news in the NHL right now. Austin Matthews is out at least 3 weeks with a knee sprain.
Ouch.
Wow.
Tennis. Him and Marner playing tennis.
No, it was apparently from the Rangers game. Suffered the injury in the Rangers game on Wednesday. I might have to, maybe I'm going to have to reevaluate my player props. Maybe not. We'll see. But I was targeting a Leaf tonight for a goal, Zach, which I think the do factor for a player that's been playing really well and just hasn't been finding the net. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to, after we finish this, go and just put out a Leafs video immediately after this. People are going to be frothing at the mouth to hear about Austin Matthews' knee injury. But, Andy, you were talking about process and looking at players here. You're looking at someone tonight in the LA Kings-Florida Panthers game. This LA Kings team, it's interesting to watch them because throughout the course of the season, they haven't really got the goaltending yet. They still managed to find themselves third in the Pacific. They are 1 point behind. That would be so aggressive. They are 1 point behind Seattle and Vegas right now. They do have 3 more games played than Seattle, but and 1 more. But they're 6-4 in their last 10. They are on a 2-game win streak here, just having beaten Chicago and Philly, not the 2 strongest teams. But they're on the road tonight against the Panthers, 13-8-4 on the road this season. And this Panthers team right now, they're trying to make somewhat of a push for the playoffs. They're 3 back of the Sabres, who are currently on the outside looking in. They're 5 points back of the Penguins, 6 points back of the Capitals, who hold on to those 2 wildcard spots in the East. What is it that you like in this Kings-Panthers game tonight, Andy?
Well, I think this game, you would think it would feature quite a bit of offense tonight. I'm expecting Jonathan Quick to get the start. The Kings are on the first half of the back-to-back. I'm also expecting, unless Sergei Bobrovsky is ready to come back, I'm thinking it's going to be Spencer Knight tomorrow, so that leaves Alex Leon, or is that how you say it?
Alex
Leon
so,
or Lion or what?
I mean, he's going to be back in the minors soon enough anyway. So
who cares, right? That guy will start in net tonight probably for the Panthers. But the Kings, there's one line specifically that I kind of find intriguing, and it's the Danault, Arvidsson, and Iafallo line. Arvidsson is not really shooting the puck as much as he did in past years. He's kind of down this year in that respect. But over the last month or so, Iafallo's been generating shots, expected goals, and he's up there in terms of the team leaders in those categories. So I think this is a good spot. Although all 3 of those players that I mentioned are pretty snake bitten right now over the last handful of games or more. You can get them up to DraftKings plus 320 is a great price in my opinion. I mean, I think that's a good bet in a game where you're probably going to see somewhere around that 6 or 7 goal mark.
Yeah.
All right, and that will be logged on the BetStamp account in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. So again, if you want to see all the picks in real time, after the fact, make sure to head over there. We are up on the
bet
season.
it tomorrow. Bet it the next game that the Kings play. Don't bet it tonight. Bet it in the next game
and the next
win.
game. You still gotta fire it.
That's what I think. When I give out a player prop like a goal scorer, then it's like don't bet it. Bet it the next time, and it'll win.
Well, I was just hoping you'd give out another
goals.
player. Yeah, I was hoping you'd give out another player so we could parlay them together tonight.
Yeah.
But
Let's do it. That was funny. That was awesome. I'm so glad. I was so glad that I lost that and that it worked out that way because it was just funny.
Yeah, the 1-on-1. Yeah.
Honestly, like the minute
first
that you
leg
gave
too,
out
right?
that parlay, it's almost exactly the way that
You knew
was the way it
Stützle was
gonna go
not
down.
scoring,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
exactly.
and Nichushkin was. And I wonder how many people just like I myself almost wanted to go double down, like triple down on Nichushkin because of that, right? And I didn't, and I was kicking my ass. So.
Talking about games that could potentially have a lot of goals here, we're looking at the San Jose Carolina game. And Rob, this one's a little bit intriguing to you on 2 factors. This San Jose team, they are 2-5-3 in their last 10. They're coming off of 3 straight losses in this one. They lost to Columbus 5-3, Boston 4-0, Detroit 3-2. And now they're facing off against a strong Carolina team who's leading the Metro, tied with the Leafs in points. They're 2 points up on New Jersey right now. They did lose Pacioretty again. He will be out for 6 to 8 months at this point, but they were great without him. He only came in and played for 5 or so games, and I imagine they'll continue on the path that they were on before he joined them. And now coming off of 3 straight wins in this one, having beaten Minnesota, the Islanders, and the Stars. They're a strong home team, 14-5-2, but we're talking about dogs. We're talking about potential games with a bunch of goals, and both of those are intriguing to you in this one. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could tell you why it is. I mean, obviously, this is a numbers play. I'm not going to argue the difference between San Jose and Carolina for me. There's a couple things, though, I'm looking at in this game. And let's start. We got James Reimer confirmed now for the Sharks. Listen, horrible year for Reimer after a season ago where he looked like pretty good, a guy that people maybe wanted to acquire at the deadline, so on and so forth. But as of last night, the Carolina Hurricanes did not call up Kochetkov. So that would indicate to me that Freddie Anderson, who left last game, is fine. Do they rush him back in here tonight off of, leaving a game?
I think Ranta's earned a start after what happened in the last game. Just sorry to cut you off, but yeah. I do think that's pretty strong opinion I have today. Just because he came in a game that they were losing and had a great performance, right? So
agreed. And listen, there's nothing against Ranta. Ranta's a fine goalie. Like he's solid. He's for a long time he was probably the best backup that should have been a starter in the league. But ultimately, of the options, relative to Freddie, I have Ranta as a considerable downgrade. And I'm looking at the prices in this game, and I just can't get there. So the over, in my opinion, coupled with San Jose plus 1.5, I'm not saying parlay them. Whenever I like two bets in the same game, I tend to ease off on risk a little bit. But plus 1.5, anything up to plus 100, I think that's a decent bet. The Sharks do have a lot of the Calgary Flames vibes in that their peripherals are always going to be way better than they actually perform. They do have good puck movers. They do have some elite talent for like a bad team. Long. Yeah, for the next few weeks at least they do. But also like they generate a lot of high quality chances and they give up a lot. So over 6, in my opinion, with the goaltending matchup in this game should be priced a little bit higher, closer to minus 120. I think that you have the minus 112 at Pinnacle, minus 118 at the Canby books, profit minus 116. Like those are all good bets in my opinion. So I'm going to go half unit, Zach, on the over here. Expectation again is that Ranta starts the game. I think it's extremely likely at this point. And then I'm also going to take San Jose in the plus 1.5 range for a half bet as well. So we'll split it up side and total in this game. I do not have Jacob Slavin in my number as well. I should just point that out for anyone out there who's wondering. Just, missed Saturday's game, hasn't been on the ice yet as of yesterday, not expecting him to be available. But ultimately, this just comes down to San Jose still averaging decent amount of goals per game, expected goals through the roof. They score on 20% of their power plays. They have those Timo Meier, Erik Karlsson, Logan Couture, guys that are peppering the net with shots. Defensively, though, big issues for them. So that's the way I'm going to opt to play it. I like both of those. I have an edge on both of those.
Yeah, I like that total a little bit too.
There you go.
I was pretty close on it, just not close enough to kind of justify giving it out today in my article. But what happened? I still have yet to see an explanation, but I haven't really looked into it. I haven't had a chance yet. But if there is no explanation, I'm just done with the Sharks as far as a money line bet. That's for sure. Not that they were winning very many games, and I was betting on them very often anyway. But Timo Meier and Thomas Hertl did not see the ice at all in the overtime period versus Detroit in a game that they probably could have won. These are two teams that have won going into that game, had won just 6 of their last 20 games, right? And they were a plus 130 dog, closed around plus 110, I think, and the two best players did not see the ice in overtime. It's just I didn't get it. So, well,
I can explain it to you. There's this guy. His name's Connor Bedard, and
yeah, well that's what I mean. If that's how they're gonna play this, if it's gonna be so obvious and outright like an outright tank move.
Yeah.
You can't bet on that team to win.
Bettman says there is no tanking in the NHL.
Yeah,
of course not.
Bettman cleared it up for all of us. So, but you know what? If they take it to overtime and lose 4-3.
That's great for your bet. I'm just saying. And how is that is there going to be any trickle down effect to that? Is there going to be, are they going to just kind of start resting these guys a little bit more, even, in the first 3 periods because they're going to trade them? I don't know. What's good point. Is this going to be the play here? Are they going to start using crappy players in high leverage situations? I don't know, right? What's going on? I just thought that was an unbelievably bold move to sit your 2 best players in a game that you're, I don't know what it's, you can play it however you want, I guess, David Quinn, but it's, I don't know. Who are you trying to suck up to?
Right.
He's just keeping Meier healthy
Mike
for that
Greer.
inevitable trade to Toronto.
Listen, David Quinn, you are going to do what I tell you to do if you want to keep your job, mother.
We got another game here where we have plays on the side and total. Andy, you're rocking the hat in support of this team here tonight. New Jersey heading to Dallas to take them on. They did just lose last night to Nashville 6-4, but New Jersey has been a really good team on the road so far this season, 18-3-2. We talked about the fact that they are 2 points behind the Carolina Hurricanes right now, trying to catch up to them, doing whatever they can to continue to gain some of that points back that they had lost after they had a huge lead on everybody earlier in the season. Going in to face this Dallas team who's first in the Central right now. They are 2 points up on Winnipeg. They're coming off of 2 losses here, one to Buffalo, one to the Carolina Hurricanes. 13-5-5 at home so far this season. Andy, we'll start with you. You're looking at New Jersey here tonight. What do you like about the Devils?
If I was like a European, I feel like I could come up with a really good chant for Vitek Vanacek. Like it has a nice ring to it, and dude's been awesome, right? It's 8 in a row.
Yep.
The Devils' defense is much better when he's in goal this season. He's down around 2.3 goals against per 60. I think that Dallas is a good team, but they haven't been playing elite hockey by any means. They've been losing more than they've been winning. I don't think it's the last game before the break for the Stars, so I would assume Ottinger is going to be in goal. I don't think they're going to give him this one off, and it's a home game. But I bet the Devils at plus 125 or better. I think New Jersey just still generates a lot of shots. They give up a lot of shots, but they lost 4-1 to the Stars last time, and Schmid was in goal in that game. They're just a different team when Vanacek is in goal, and their offense is good. So on a regular basis, and plus 125 seems to be still widely available. A little bit better than that at some shops. I think it's a decent play.
And Rob, what are you looking at in this game here?
So last night, Devils lose 6-4 to the Predators. One of a pretty horrible defensive performance for anyone who caught any of that game. Yeah. Lots of odd man breaks. It was just really rough to watch from a New Jersey point of view. You have post-game pressers for Nico Hischier, Ryan Graves, Lindy Ruff, all of them basically talking about how they did Blackwood dirty. They hung him out to dry after he saved them basically in the first period with a very good first. This is like very narrative-y, but following a game like that in the second of the back-to-back, I really think that the Devils will have an emphasis on their defense tonight and really focus on not giving up those odd man rushes. We're headed to, listen, there's a possibility that Wedgwood starts. That wouldn't mean that the under is dead here, but Vanacek, Ottinger, that to me is a very good goaltending matchup. I think that there's some value in the under 6 here. I really don't play a ton of unders in the NHL anymore because of the end game states that you can get into, which are just like disastrous with the way goalie pulls happen and so on and so forth. But I actually think that this game should be shaded towards the under at 6. Most books, it's shaded towards the over. Obviously, Pinnacle on the screen there. I agree with a lot of what Andy said, but I really think that there's going to be an emphasis on team defense from the Devils tonight. The Stars are pretty consistently good defensively. They've been better year over year, offensively and defensively, but I just don't see.
They're like 26th on offense though over the last 24 days or 27 days, I guess, right? So yeah, I forgot what day it was.
And even like their records are really misleading because if from a betting perspective, right? Like you look at their last 10 games and they're 5-2-3. And it's like they're consistently earning points, but if you bet them, you've lost 5 of those games. They're 5-5, right? So ultimately, I agree with Andy. I show value slightly on the Devils. My preference is to the under, but this is kind of like a look that I've had for several years now where teams just are an abomination defensively in one game and the coach reams them out publicly. What are you thinking if you're in that locker room? You're probably thinking like we can't give up the chances like last night. So
yeah, and I think too. Like I laughed last night. There was a Nashville radio guy or beat writer kind of that I follow, and he made a comment like New Jersey hasn't had 40 shots in a game yet this season, but they're the 4th best team in the NHL. And my response was, well, they generate a ton of shot attempts, and they are one of the best teams in terms of expected goals, fourth best, and that's still the case right now. Top 10 team. The rest of the NHL should be glad that this team isn't putting up 40 shots a game, or else it would be really tough to beat them, and it already is, right? So I don't know. They're an effective team, but they do have to clean up your defense, and hopefully they do that tonight.
And Rob, we're good to lock this in under 6 minus 102.
Lock it in, baby.
All right, we'll lock that in there. Andy, there's a side that you like. We typically see you get to wear the hats on stream, but elected to go with the Predators one in the theme of preying on the books here today. But
he doesn't have a Columbus Blue Jackets hat.
The Vegas Golden Knights heading to New York to take on the Rangers tonight. Vegas right now, we talked about they are tied with Seattle in points in the first in the Pacific, but they do have 2 more games played, so they're behind in win percentage there. They're on a 2-game losing streak right now, having lost to Arizona 4-1 and New Jersey 3-2. Great road team so far this season, 15-4-3, taking on the Rangers, who are 3rd in the Metro right now. They are 6 points back of the Devils, so a little bit of ground to have to make up if they wanted to catch anybody, but coming off 6-2-2 in their last 10. They did just lose to the Leafs in overtime 3-2 the other day. What is it that you're liking in this one between the Vegas Golden Knights and the New York Rangers?
Yeah, it's right on the edge for me here in terms of the Golden Knights price. So Bruce Cassidy said that Shea Theodore will be a game-time decision for tonight. He practiced in full yesterday. I'm assuming he's going to be back tonight. Obviously, Mark Stone's not traveling with the team. William Carrier returns on the 3rd line. He'll be with Chandler Stevenson and Phil Kessel there. But it's, again, like a numbers play here overall. A lot of people just completely dismiss home-road splits in hockey, and I actually think that there's something to them. Now, we deal with small samples, but for years, Vegas was a dominant home team, right? And people just constantly kept dismissing that. And they're like, oh, the home ice advantage can't be this much, and so on and so forth. And people just got buried, betting against them at home. Now it's kind of changed. And I mean, listen, it's very narrative-y as well. But there's something about just getting away on the road and playing, not having the pressure of dealing with the home fans and so on and so forth. And I think the Golden Knights just play a better game away from home in that they're just a little bit more compact. They give up less. That's a type of team that can frustrate the Rangers, in my opinion. So plus 135 is kind of like my cutoff here. You can find some of those on the board right now. It is fairly widely available. 365, Caesars, DraftKings all offering exactly 135. Not a super huge play by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I'm kind of getting priced in here with the assumption that Shea Theodore is going to be back for Vegas tonight.
All right, we'll lock that in as well. Then lots of dogs on the board tonight. Going back to Jeff's comments, the dogs are barking here. So
favorite parlay, baby.
All the dogs
time for the favorite
night.
Parlay tonight.
Yep, $10 to $10K, baby. Starts with the favorites parlay tonight. Yeah.
What is
All
this?
right,
10 is this? Is I saw you tweet about this? Is this a thing that's
Like
that's
this
have you
happening?
not seen this?
It's just
TikTok
new
shit?
betting challenge. Yeah. It's
No,
just,
nobody. If you could do that, then I don't know that.
whichever sports book decided to just leak this as an idea into social media, that man, whoever decided, man or woman, that person deserves a raise, because this is the dumbest shit now. People are just rolling over all their winnings trying to win 10 games in a row. It's essentially a 10-game parlay. Yeah, it's
Oh man, I saw a Bet Rivers commercial the other day, and it's the same game multi-game parlay, and it's just so funny. It's just so I don't know. They couldn't
they
come
got
up with a better
screenshots
name,
of no, they have screenshots too of it, of 5-leg same game parlay parlayed with a 4-leg same game parlay parlayed with another one.
Yeah. Oh
boy.
my god.
Yeah. Rob, I don't know. Just quickly, my favorite thing that I saw was one of the Hammer content creators, Ian MacMillan. If you haven't seen his stuff, make sure to check it out at Ian MacBets, doing some of the stuff with On the Forward Progress YouTube channel for the NFL with Rob. But he tweeted about how the same as a 10-leg parlay and was like doing the math on it. And there's all these people like arguing with him saying like, I get what you're saying, but you're just wrong. And then I just saw him like going to war on Twitter, and like gambling Twitter might be just the worst place ever.
Honestly, it really is. It's the problem is, and listen, I'm a pro bettor. Andy's bet hockey professionally as well, and we still learn stuff regularly. Like, I don't want to say that I know everything. I learn from other people all the time.
There are just some truths.
Yes, exactly. There are some things you cannot argue. It is just a fact. It is a statement of fact. And the space is flooded now with all these people are getting their first exposure to betting. And I remember what I was like when I was in my early 20s and I was betting. I thought I had it all figured out. Like, I watched these games. You can't tell. Like, I had no clue. And I'm almost embarrassed to think about what I was like, a decade ago in terms of my betting. And you just have more of that in the forefront now, more people on social media. And it's, Alfonso Strafon, who's like an industry research guy, I don't really know how to bucket him, so to speak.
He's like the TMZ of sports betting industry.
Yes.
He'll pick up the stories and stuff. And,
he tweeted something yesterday, which was referencing the state of Illinois. But in Illinois, 7 of every 10 bets made at FanDuel is a parlay. 5 of every 10 bets made at DraftKings is a parlay. Like, this is the new breed of sports bettors who are just playing lottery tickets, and they think that, like, they don't really understand the concept of expected value. And I'm not saying never play a parlay. There can be reasons to do it and so on and so forth. But we're living in different times, man. Regulation just brings a lot more eyeballs and people in the space that, frankly, they'll probably look back 3 years from now and be like, I really wish I had listened to all those people that were telling me otherwise.
Like, I can't connect with my dad about sports betting. Like, he's a guy that spent his whole adulthood betting Proline Parlays right here in Canada. Now he, can access books or is more comfortable accessing online sports books, so he's doing that. And it's just parlay, but right? Like I like when I was betting professionally and it was a big thing for me. Like, my dad knew that it was, paying bills and stuff like that, but I don't think he ever really got like how I was doing it, like single game bets and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, and then we try to talk about it now, and it's like, yeah, I just can't connect. It's just it's almost a totally different game.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. People in the chat are saying can barely talk to their friends because it's all SGPs and long shot props. Yeah.
Listen, there's a place for that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I play SGPs every now and then. I take long shot bets. Like, there are times where I'm betting for entertainment purposes, recreationally, right? Like, live same game parlays, in my opinion, are great. They're really fun. You're watching a game live. You have some sort of, this team's going to come back. I want to parlay them with this goal scorer and so on and so forth. Yeah. It makes the experience, like, sports betting can be the best form of entertainment. But when you're playing everything like that with the expectation that you're going to win in the long run, that's a problem. And it can become a problem. So, listen, I don't want to knock people who just bet parlays or betting for fun. Everyone's entitled to do their own thing. But it comes with the expectation of knowing that, like, if you're going to continue making these types of bets over and over and over, it's near impossible to win in the long run.
Yeah. No, losing money isn't fun, but if you're doing that, you're probably not losing enough on a regular basis that it's like, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but you're probably not, if you're just betting those lottery style tickets, it's probably not becoming that obvious to you that you're losing all that much money, right? Unless you're kind of, if you're looking into it, you're probably not doing it. I don't know. It's just like Rob said, the people that only do that only want to do that, that's the disconnect where I can't like talk to betting about those people.
Right.
Yeah. Right. All right. Let's get to the second leg of Andy's anytime goal scorer player prop here. You've got another anytime goal scorer for us in the Columbus-Vancouver game tonight.
Oh, you're going to make me give out both, eh?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to make you give out both.
Two losers. People need it.
This gives us a better opportunity at the end of the night to tweet out 1 and 1. Yeah, we
need
the
parlays.
All right, so tell us what you got between Columbus and Vancouver tonight.
So parlaying this with Alex Iafallo plus 320. No, I'm just joking. Oh, Connor McDavid got us tomorrow. He's gonna light it up. Kirill Marchenko, man. I'm just assuming that we get Spencer Martin tonight. I don't think you have to worry about this line moving. But yeah, you can get plus 330 at DraftKings, plus 325. I mean anything over 3 to 1, I think is a decent bet. This guy just is getting a little bit more ice time now. He just generates a ton of shots and chances. It's a shame that they're not putting him on the first line. He almost had a spot on there a couple of games ago, but it just didn't work out. But yeah, I like Marchenko in a game against the Canucks where, yeah, like Rob said, defense will probably be an emphasis for the Canucks tonight under their new head coach Rick Tocchet. But I think it's going to be easier said than done for this team because they're just a pretty poor group when it comes to that aspect of the game. So, Columbus, not a team I expect to win, but Marchenko's a guy that is going to continue to score goals this season, and I think he's a guy that you got to watch for Columbus as long as he's priced around the range that he's in now.
All right, and final leg of our player prop parlay, Rob. You still like the anytime goal scorer despite Matthews being out here tonight?
I do, and honestly, I'm going to add to this at this point because I've been following this market during the show, and my God, these props markets are so slow to react to player news nowadays. It's absurd, but Tavares is getting bumped up to the top line. I already like Tavares to score a goal tonight if Matthews was playing, but Tavares is now between Marner and Bunting. That's where he's going to play. You still have plus 180 on the board at Caesars. Tavares, to me, was a guy that you will want to target in this game regardless, just because I think he's been playing really well. You look at the past couple weeks, 13 individual expected goals, but only 8 goals. The Senators allow the 6th most goals per 60 in the league at 5 versus 5. I do think that Tavares has been finding himself in good positions, especially on the power play right in front of the net, and I like that look for him. So getting bumped up there is one, but I also, I'll throw a half unit on that, Zach. But I also want a half unit on Pontus Holmberg, anytime goal scorer, if we can find plus 500 or better, because Holmberg is going to be the center that moves between Nylander and Järnkrok. So he's going to have Nylander on his wing, peppering shots at the net. Think he can find a dirty one. He scored last game on a breakaway. Beautiful backhander there. But again, anything over 5-1. So Caesars, FanDuel on the board here that have those prices. I like that look for anyone who's centering Nylander, frankly. So, those are the 2 looks. I'm going to throw a half unit on each of them. Hope that one of them scores. Hope that both of them score. Maybe I'll parlay them too. Maybe I'll throw them in together in a parlay as well. Just reinvent the wheel here. But listen, Matthews out. These prices have not been adjusted anywhere at this point. So I'll throw some shots here.
I was going to ask you, Rob, because you follow other sports. I can't even say I follow other sports. So in NBA, can you bet players off like bench players and stuff like that pretty easily in the player prop markets? Are they easy to find? Is everybody that's on the roster listed?
Yes.
Yeah. That's something that has to change with the NHL because in order to really give us a full menu and be able to take advantage of some of these lineup changes and things like that, you got to have guys listed in the points market. That's a big one. I think goal scorers are always listed, right? And that's where we can find some value. But I would really like to see, all roster players listed in the over under half a point or 1.5 points, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I think the Kambi books have do a decent job of covering off a lot of the players. So North Star Bets in Ontario, Bet Rivers, I'm missing some, Unibet as well. But those books tend to have all the players for the most part. Now, sometimes it takes till later in the day till you get the full complement of them, but that's what I've particularly noticed as I delve more into the prop market. You're right, though. It should be we should get to the point. I know it's hard to price some of this stuff, but there's not really a lot of liability either on these types of markets. Like you list a fourth line player, anytime goal scorer, shots on goal props or whatever. How much damage is someone going to possibly do to the book there? So yeah, I mean,
for sure, yeah. No, like there was a guy in San Jose, what's his name, Esamont, or he was playing on the top line there for a little bit, and he might still be playing on the top line right now.
Yeah,
but like you couldn't find him anywhere. So it's like, I don't know.
Yes, this is also something I want. Like, I'll comment on this really quickly about you're lucky to get $50 on a Canby player prop. Yes, like they are known to limit people for sure, but there are lots of workarounds to get money down on players.
You just got to lose enough betting parlays on the other side.
That's one of them, though. I mean, listen, I'm not going to name the sports book, but in Ontario, I recently went to one of the book's headquarters. I got to sit down with their trading team that's trading games. And basically, like, this guy was like an open book that I could ask a million questions to, and he was just delivering the goods to me. And, you know, every day we run a closing line value report. If people are killing us on closing line value on props and things, we're going to, you know, flag their account. We might limit them, whatever. My quick question was, what about if I'm parlaying all this stuff together? He's like, yeah, we don't run a closing line value report for parlays. We just assume that the parlay players are not very good. Like, that's information you can use to your advantage if you want to keep your limits high, right? Like if you're parlaying 2 or 3 plus EV props, your parlay is probably going to be plus EV as well, right? If you have enough. So like use that information. Definitely limiting is a problem in the space. But I bet at literally every sports book that's regulated in Ontario, if I can, there are ways to keep accounts open. You just got to like think about it from the perspective of the book, right? What's the book looking for? Why are they going to shut you down? And try to disguise your action, I guess, as much as possible. I mean, we shouldn't have to play that game. We shouldn't have to, but you can play that game and you can successfully keep these accounts for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I was writing articles like almost a decade ago about how profiling was a big thing in the industry and what to watch out for and what the like. I mean, that information's been out there, so it's not like bettors aren't able to, you know, combat it and try to work around that stuff. So
yeah, and then when they do limit me, I make sure that I send every single bet I make to the trader over and over, just so that he has to reject it every single time. I just want that one guy sitting there being like, not this guy again. And I'm just ripping off bets. They're approving them for like $3, and I'm sending the other $497 to trader every single time. And I know that there's that one guy that's just got to keep declining these and be like, and you know what?
Pizza man.
Yeah, like maybe I should give this guy a little bit more on the games, and he'll stop sending them to traders. So yeah,
you never know. You could work your way back. We'll see if it works. Right? Like,
imagine.
Has anybody ever worked their way back out of pure annoyance?
I mean, this is not an exaggeration. I do this stuff, but it's pure spiteful. Like I have, you know, it's definitely a huge waste of my time. But if I can have a trader just sitting there rattled, imagine it wasn't even a real trader though. It was just like an automated bot rejecting them. I would feel like the biggest asshole if I was doing that. Just what a waste of my life.
Question for you guys here real quick before we go. To make it the last thing, Brian Flynn asking, when trying to profit long term, is it just smarter to only do straight bets? I'll let you guys take that over.
Yeah, like, listen, I can speak from experience having consulted for different sports books in the space, right? And the sports books hold percentage on straight bets is always going to be significantly lower than parlays and teasers and other types of bets. So, I mean, yes, I tell my friends this all the time. Like, obviously, there's the appeal, the lottery ticket appeal. I get it. But if your expectation is to try to lose less in the long run or even win money, then you probably want to just target straight bets as much as possible. They work in your favor as a player a little bit more than everything else.
I'd probably get like arguments from people for this take, but I think for most people, this daily betting grind is just not like, it's not for you, right? Like, it's not like, it's tough. It's fucking tough. Like, it's not easy. And there's a lot of people that make it look easy and whatever, but it's, you know, like, it's just tough, man. And I think future bets, are one way for a lot of people. Like, I think it's one of the safest ways if people really do their research and spend their summer like I do with my hockey guide and stuff and doing all the projections and everything like that. I really think that a lot of gamblers would probably, or a lot of recreational bettors that just want to have some skin in the game would probably be best served by just kind of building a futures portfolio throughout the season and making logical decisions. Don't pile up on too many teams and, for the same bet and whatnot. But you can do pretty good in those markets, especially to make the playoffs, things like that. And yeah, there's a lot of opportunity cost, but if you don't really have that opportunity throughout the season, like if you're just going to be rolling up at 4:30 p.m. trying to get your bets down every day, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle anyways. So you're going to be giving all that plus EV that you acquired in the futures market back. So I don't know. I think there's a case to be made that a lot of rec bettors would be best just spending a few weeks researching, make their future bets, maybe revisit at different points throughout the season periodically, and You'd probably have a higher ROI.
Yeah, and I guess to Andy's point as well, in those situations as a rec better, if you are doing that, you still have opportunity throughout the season to continue to bet, and you can continue to corner different markets, futures markets in those situations to kind of add to what you've already done preseason and just attack things in different ways from that. Especially one thing that I learned about, and I'll just say as someone who's, I don't know, Rob, you'd probably know better what to classify me as a bettor. I don't think I'm a rec anymore, but transitioning,
rec
trying
plus.
to learn more. Yeah, rec plus is probably accurate. But it's one thing I even learned from you guys especially was, hey, you're in a situation where maybe you're looking at a team to make playoffs. Well, or go on to some type of run. Well, can you look at a coach to win the Jack Adams? Can you look at a goalie to win the Vezina? There's different markets that you can apply to, branching off of those main things that you believe might be there, because if one's going to be true, then likely the other one's going to be true, and then you can find more value on different numbers outside of that from those.
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example, and it doesn't apply to the NHL, but in the NFL late in the year, I was going to go and bet the Steelers to make the playoffs at 16-1 price, which they had 6 games left in the season. I like the schedule, but what are the chances that the Steelers are going to make the playoffs without Kenny Pickett, their quarterback, having a great run down the stretch? So I'm going to look at the Kenny Pickett rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year market, and he's 40-1 at that price. So you can find, you're right, Zach. You can just evaluate the different markets and you can find the better wager that pays well in the long run. But I go on You Better You Bet every week with Ken Barkley, Lockie Lockerson, as he's called. He's not a hockey bettor at all, but he just puts together portfolios for the Calder Trophy, the Norris, the Vezina, Stanley Cup over the course of the year, just by reading the game like a stock market. This guy is on a hot streak. His odds are not the market's not adjusting to this. I need to get in on this, and so on and so forth. And you end up with guys like Ullmark to win the Vezina at 50-1, Hellebuck to win the Vezina at 50-1. You get some absurd prices just because this is a market that the books are slower to react to. So I agree with what a lot of Andy said there. And by the way, that's a lot of fun. He's messaging me on a nightly basis, this player had a bad game. This player did this. He's invested in it now.
I'm cheering for my David Pasternak Rocket Richard bet all the time, even though it's just a small bet, but it's a 20-1 bet, and I want to win it. It's, you know what I mean? It's I cheer for that throughout the whole season, and it's I'm not betting on Pasternak to score a goal every night, but in a way I am, it's so I mean, I think the player markets too. Last year, I didn't end up winning it because I didn't have Cale Makar, but I ended up with Yossi and Hedman both at 10-1 to win the Norris. So I was sitting in a pretty good spot with 2 out of the 3 finalists, and other years I've had 2 out of the 3 Vezina finalists. It's there's some good spots to be in, just attacking future markets.
All right, well, if you want to track all the picks that we give out on the show today, or you want to see some of the futures that we placed earlier in the season as they're tracked there as well, you can find that in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section, as Edgework currently up 35 units on the year, a 6.9% ROI on the season. And you can see all the bets that we've placed today. So make sure to head over there, give us a follow.
I gotta start saying the 0.10 unit for my player props there. You gotta put $10 on. No, I'm just joking.
We're going 35 units. on this game tonight. Try to build it up to
35U.
70. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can track all of that here on the BetStamp app, and make sure to give us a hit like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. As Edgework, you can turn on notifications so you get notified when we go live on this channel, as well as when our new podcast with David Pagnotta, Dennis Bernstein, and Zach Bonestein drops every Wednesday, breaking down futures, markets, and news from around the league. I'm sure that at some point they'll be talking about this Matthews 3 weeks injury on the next episode. So make sure to tune into that as well.
Leafs are gonna go on a winning streak. Fuck.
Yep.
Yeah,
This is the star player out boost that
Yep.
you're gonna get here, so keep your eyes out for that. But as well, if you are looking for more betting content today, you can head over to the Forward Progress YouTube channel at 12 o'clock. Rob will be live with a variety of different guests. Hitman, John Legeza, and of course Joey Knish joining Rob to go over player props for this weekend's NFL games for the conference championship. So make sure to head over to the Forward Progress YouTube channel after this. Subscribe to that channel, and you can catch Rob going live at 12. Thank you to everyone who tuned in here today. Andy, Rob, appreciate your time as always. Good luck on your bets tonight. I'll see you guys next week.